Of all the different ways you get to create AI videos, the start and the end frame are the most reliable. Welcome back to this channel, and in this one we will explore the frames tool on Google Flow. This is a straightforward direct guide. I'm not going to diverge into different topics. I'm just going to show you what the frame is, how it works, with examples. Everything starts with your frames. Think of this as your first most important step. If the image quality or the idea is poor, well, the video will be too. To get the most out of Flow and frames, you really need to sharpen your image generation skills first. We will create a few examples, but for the first example, I want to create the images right here with you. I will go at the bottom. I'm using Nano Banana Pro 16:9 and one single generation. If you want to use Nano Banana 2, this will work as well. And this is my prompt. It's just a full body shot of a young woman just walking on a trail. We have soft, natural light and subtle shadows, and then we finish with a natural texture, candid shot. I just want a lady walking in the forest. That's it. If you want the prompts and images I'm using for these examples, let me know down in the comments and I will send you a link. We get it back and this is what I get. It's just a woman walking in the forest. Fine, this will work. Now, then you need to create the end frame. This will be the starting frame. And to create the first frame from the starting frame, you have two choices. You can use ingredients or go to the edit. And I'm going to do both. Why not? I'm going to go right here, just take this image and then drop it as an ingredient. Remember, we are using Nano Banana. Since she's not looking at the camera, what I want is for her to look at the camera and do something like that. Simple. This is my prompt, medium close shot. The subject is holding both hands up towards the viewer. Her expression is joyful, smiling, looking directly at the lens. And then I provide the instruction for the arms. Let's run the prompt and hopefully we get something consistent. Well, this one is going, you have a lot of different methods of creating different images by, using sheets or using references or using ingredients or elements. Again, you have a lot of different methods. This is not the main topic of this video. I've created other videos about subject consistency. If you want to take a look, go to the cards or check my channel. We get back a response and we get something, super consistent. It looks like it's her, but most importantly, you need to take a look at the background, at the setting. On the end frame is something super different in the back or the subject, you will be getting these weird transformations, which in this case is something that we don't want. So this is one way of creating the end frame from the starting frame. The other way is by going directly to the image and then running an edit. We don't need to add ingredients. I'm just going to use the same prompt that we used a minute ago. I'm just going to run the task. When we get it back, we can see it's again still pretty consistent. Now, if you ask me which method I like the most, I like the edit a little bit more than creating it with ingredients. But as you can see, both methods will work. Should you spend a lot of time perfecting your start and ending frame? 100%. Yes, crappy frames equal crappy videos. And when you are creating the video, no amount of prompting will fix those errors. I will use this image. If you want to add it to your main dashboard, you just need to click on Save to Project and then make sure that you select this one before you exit. And once back on your dashboard, we can see that we have both images. And I gotta say both are fine. Once you have your frames and you're 100% sure, your job is to prompt whatever is that happens in between. I will use this one as my starting. I'm going to go at the bottom and select video and then use frames 16:9, one single output. Now we have a new model, the fast, the light, and the quality. And you know what? I'm going to use the light. Why not? I'm going to take this as my starting frame. I can just drag and drop to the starting frame, or I can click on this one and I can select it from the menu. It's just completely up to you. But I like to drag and drop. So this one will be my starting and this one will be my ending frame. You have an icon right here, and with this one you can just swap the starting for the ending and the ending for the starting. And this is an important feature. We will talk about this in a minute. Of course, we see the images and we know exactly what we want. Nonetheless, it's a good idea to let the model know what we want from this sequence. I'm going to go right here to the prompt, and my prompt will be: a woman is walking in the forest. The camera follows her with a slow cinematic movement as she walks towards the camera. So we are pretty much describing the frames. Let's just run the task and see if we get something cool. Okay, so let's see. She's walking. She needs to look at the camera. And that's weird, but she needs to open her arms. Yeah, for the most part, it's fine. VO, it's adding some artistic direction with that leaf. But again, for the most part, it's a good generation. All right. Okay, so as you can see, it's pretty simple to work with. You add your starting, your ending, and then you prompt what happens. Things that you need to be aware of. The background and the subject must match. In this case, we have a consistent subject, and then the background is consistent as well. If the frames are way too different from each other, you will be getting wild transformations, unless you want this trippy vibe type of transformations. If that's what you want, then go for it. When you create a video, it has a limited duration. If you prompt for her to jump, laugh, spin, clap, and then drop a line, that will fail, or it might fail. The model will still try to deliver all of that, but it's better if you keep it concise. If you have a full body shot at the start, a good idea is to stay close to the full body shot. You can provide completely different shots from the starting and the ending, but again, most often than not, you will be getting somehow inconsistent generations. Sometimes you will be getting something awesome, and sometimes you will be getting something, not so awesome. And that's just completely fine. The thing is that it will cost you more credits. So when you provide completely different frames, you can really expect some crappy generations. Just be aware. Okay, now that you know a little bit more about frames, let's explore some scenarios. The zoom is one of the safest motions that you can execute with frames. To do this, you need a zoom in and a zoom out image. This is my example. I have a man on a mountain, let's say, and then the same man with arms open and looking up. You'll notice that the person in my images is in a slightly different pose, and I've created this on purpose. If the subject stays in the exact same pose, I mean, from a close shot and then just a full body shot, when you create the video and you zoom in or you zoom out, it will be super static. It will create a flat, lifeless video, just scaling the image up and down. So you need to make both shots dynamic. You can change a little bit of the lighting of what's going on in the back. Maybe if you have cars, you can add cars in the background or anything in the background that it's moving. Maybe the wind blows and the hair or the clothing moves. Let's do it. I'm going to take this as a starting frame and the other one as an ending frame. And of course, we always need to prompt for something. A man standing on the peak of a mountain, and the camera zooms out as he opens his arms. Again, we are pretty much describing the obvious, but you kind of need to do this. It's a way of reinforcing the model what we need to do. I'm going to still run it on light. Let's see what we get back. While this one is going, what you can do is to go right here at the bottom, and you can just click, and it will swap the frames. And now we have the other motion. Instead of zooming out, we will be zooming in. I'm going to change the prompt, of course, for the camera zooms in as he closes his arms. Let's run it. We have the first one. Let's just take a look. Zoom out. The man opens his arms. It looks very natural. And we end on the ending frame. Cool. We can see some issues with the video, but remember that we are using the cheap version of VO. If you run the quality, you will be getting something better. Let's take a look at the other one. Zoom in, it zooms in. Well, that was weird. Of course, this is a bad generation, and the prompt and the images are not the problem. It's just the way it is. We got a bad generation. What can we do? Well, the only thing that you can do is to run it again. And that's it. Let's see if we get it right on this generation. And, that's a little bit weird. But for the most part, it's fine. Since we are prompting for camera motion, you can and you should be specific. By default, if you don't prompt for anything, the model will create a slow type of movement. If you want more energy or maybe a different type of movement, you need to prompt for it. You can use keywords like dolly, pull, arc, crane, or fast. I'm going to try it right now. I will start with the man, the close-up, and then the other one will end. And my prompt is going to be a man standing on the peak of a mountain. We can know the camera dollies out fast from the subject to reveal the mountain. Cool. I'm going to run this generation. And while this one is going, what if you prompt for a different camera motion? What we are doing right now is prompting the zoom in and the zoom out, which is obviously what we have on the first frame and the last frame. But what if I go right here and do something completely different? We still have the man on a mountain, but then I'm saying a smooth, sweeping drone shot that pulls away into the clouds. And hopefully you can see the problem with this prompt. Because we provided an ending frame, the model is forced to finish on that very specific shot. If you prompt for a completely different final scene, it will try to do it, and then it will be forced to finish on the ending frame. Depending on the motion that you're prompting, this can look great because it will create a transition, or you will be getting something just super weird. It's just like throwing a coin. It's like 50-50. Prompting for something crazy or something that maybe the model will not understand can give you a good result, but most often not, it will not. So you need to have the extra credits. I'm going to run this generation, and while this one is going, we can take a look at the other one. On this one, the camera needs to dolly out fast to reveal the background. Let's see what we get back. It is doing that. We said that we wanted to reveal the vast mountain range. And it's doing that, but at the same time, it's just failing because it's just not stopping on the ending frame. And to finish, because again, it needs to be forced to finish on that ending frame, it will create a transition. And this is the transition. Fine. Not a good generation, but again, not bad generation. This is still very usable. Now, let's see the other one. So in theory, should be going up into the clouds and then at some point go back. Let's see. And notice it's a little bit weird. You're just getting clouds. And then the transition, of course. If we run this generation like 10 times, I'm pretty sure that we will be getting maybe 2 that are usable and the rest will be unusable. So when you have a very specific starting frame and a very specific ending frame, trying to prompt for something that makes sense. If you provide something complex, you will be getting something weird in a transition. This idea applies to any type of motion. Just to give you one more example, I have this woman, and you have an idea of what I want to do. I want to take this woman as a starting frame, and then I want to push in, and we want to see her eyes with tears. This is my prompt. The camera performs a fast dolly push in, keywords fast dolly push in, towards the eyes of the woman. Again, I'm reinforcing what we want to do. It's pretty obvious that we want to push in towards the eyes, but it's always a good idea if you prompt for it. I'm going to run this generation. While this one is going, we are not providing a lot of information of what will happen in between. And we are not saying what we don't want. So the AI might fill the gaps with some effects, or maybe some movement from the subject, or maybe something completely weird. If you want for the subject to stay static and the background to remain consistent and remain the same, you need to go to the prompt and say, the subject is completely static, the background stays consistent while the camera pushes in. We get it, and this should be a very simple generation. But after running a lot of different generations, I'm kind of let's say, 50% sure that we will be getting a weird transition. I'm gonna go right here. We have the motion, and there we go. That's the weird part. Nonetheless, for the most part, it's good. It's fine. But it's adding a little bit of VFX. If you don't want for the VFX, you just need to say no VFX, no anything. Just keep the background consistent and on and on and on. So you need to prompt for this. Fine. As you can see on this video, I'm trying to show you different examples, but I am also expecting to get errors. So you can see where you can find some glitches. The next most reliable way is a static shot. You have an establishing shot, which is the where, and then the ending frame is the what will happen. As an example, I have this scene with a couch, just an empty couch. And on the next one is the complete unchanged scene, but then we have a woman sleeping on the couch. As before, we can assume what will happen. I want an empty couch, and then I want the woman sleeping on the couch. This is my prompt. A woman enters the room and smoothly lies down on the green couch, her weight sinking into the cushions naturally. So yeah, it's kind of simple. And this is a resource that we use the whole time. We have the shot of something, and then something happens on that something. It doesn't need to be a room. It could be an empty car. We have a shot of an empty car, and then with the next frame is going to be someone inside the car. In this case, instead of a car, we have a room, an empty room. Someone walks in and performs an action. Another thing that you can do if you don't care about the subject and how the subject is, because this is part of providing an ending frame. We are sure that she is sleeping on this very specific position. You can, of course, just remove the ending frame. And then when you prompt for something, the model will just fill the gaps for you. And I'm going to just run a test. I'm going to run this generation. And in the meantime, we have the other one. I'm going to play it back, and I'm 100% sure that this generation will be a good generation. I'm going to play it back. And it's a very simple generation. She needs to lie down and good vibes. Let's go back to the beginning and whoop, there we go. She goes in. Oh, nice couch. I'm going to take a nap. And that's it. So yeah, it's a pretty safe way of working with frames. Let's see the other one. We have no idea what is the woman, what will happen, and where she's gonna go. Nonetheless, it still is a good generation. Maybe this part, it's not, and it looks a little bit weird, but it's just a nice touch. Just that she's grabbing the blanket from here. And of course it fails. That's why providing the ending frame will always guarantee that you get most likely a good generation. Although, again, nothing is guaranteed. As I mentioned before, it doesn't need to be a room or maybe the inside of something. It could be a very close shot of something else. On this example, I have this exhaust, and then of course the car, we turn on the car and we see the sparkles and the flame. I know that this is a little bit unrealistic, but I know nothing about cars. I'm gonna drop the starting frame and I'm gonna go to the ending frame. And we just need to prompt what happens in between. A static camera close-up of a car exhaust. I'm going to run the generation and see if we get something cool. While this one is going, nothing stops you from using just the first frame and trying to be creative, just like we did with the couch. But again, you can expect some glitches. Just to give you an example, I'm gonna go to this woman, I'm gonna drop the starting frame as the starting frame, and I'm going to prompt for something way more challenging. The camera performs a full 360-degree orbit around the subject, finishing with her flashing a big smile and a cool energetic pose. So we are being a little bit more creative and, let's say, experimental and trying to get something super dynamic. This is actually fine, but you need to really remember that doing things like this will cost you a lot of credits. You might get it on the first try, but most likely you will need to run it multiple times until you get what you want. I'm gonna run this, and on the meantime, I will go to this one. Let's see if we get something cool or something weird. We get the fire and the sparkles. That was a little bit weird, but it's fine. It's usable. We don't need to use the whole clip. Sometimes you just need parts. Maybe we can just stop it right here and then move on to a different shot. And then we get the sparks, of course. Usually, almost everything that you get, it's usable. You just need to take the different parts and then go to the editor and see if you can create something cool. If you can't, doesn't matter. You can go back, create a new generation until you get something that you think it will work, and then take it back to the editor. Let's see the 360. And again, this is just like flipping a coin. Okay. It was actually pretty cool. We still get that effect. It wasn't that bad, and this was the first generation. So sometimes you will be getting on the first, and sometimes you will need to run it multiple times until you get it. That's the way it works. All right, so this was an introduction to frames and flow, but this applies to any other platform. There's so much we can do right here, like 2D animations, looping, time lapses, and a lot more. If you want for me to upload videos showing you different examples that we can create with frames, let me know down in the comments. All right, so if you liked all of this and you learned something new, remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Don't be a stranger.